As a serial entrepreneur, I've had my fair share of business flops. I have firsthand experience with business startups and mature businesses that just didn't make it. Unfortunately, on social media, people only highlight their success and seldom talk about their setbacks. In today's video, I am going to cover what I believe are the top 5 reasons why businesses fail. If you're on your entrepreneur journey, listen up because this video might save you from disaster. On this channel, I discuss living globally along with business hacks in real estate and healthcare, showing you the path so you can do the same. If this is the sort of content that you want more of, subscribe and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss a thing. My name is Carl Pierre, and this is ENTP Life. Last summer, I launched a program where I show you how to start a healthcare staffing firm and nursing agency. I give up all I know about starting a staffing company. That course is named Passive Workforce, and the links to that course can be found in the description below. In teaching that course and working with a bunch of founders, I know that some of these founders will fail at some point, especially if they don't listen and fall into the common mistakes that cause businesses to shut their doors. After thinking about my own experiences and some research, here are the top 5 reasons why entrepreneurs fail. The first killer I want to discuss is my very own Achilles heel. This issue haunts me time and time again. The number one reason why most entrepreneurs fail is a lack of focus. As an entrepreneur, especially if you're an entrepreneur that's an ENTP, you're going to see all the possibilities within your industry. It's almost inevitable. You're gonna see your company for what it is and what it could be. So what ends up happening is that we oftentimes can be providing one product or service. We'll look at a competitor, and that competitor offers another product or service that we fully understand and think would add value to our organization, but it might be too soon or it might be too many product verticals. So as an entrepreneur, you can oftentimes get ahead of yourself or get into new markets or even start completely new projects without focusing on the core of your business, the very first thing that you set out to do. I run into this problem all the time. If you just watch my channel, you see that I'm in healthcare, in real estate, Airbnb, I rent cars, I trade stocks, I do all kinds of things. And whenever I get involved in new things, my attention wanes more and more from whatever it is that is making me the most money. This happens to me all the time. My top income producer is home healthcare. Behind home healthcare is real estate investing, okay? I might start focusing on something that may only make me $10,000 a month or $15,000 a month, while my home care business, if I put the same time and effort, may have created $1 million worth of value. So think about that. Taking a few hours out of your week to focus on this new project, this new thing, or this new service line can take your attention away from something that can make you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, if you had just focused on that one thing. It's my own killer, for sure. So whenever I see that I'm spread out too thin, I go through this process of looking at what brings me the most joy and what brings me the most income. And anything outside of that, I start to scale back or delegate to someone else because I realize that it's not worth my time to focus on this other vertical or this other thing. And if it's making money, I'd rather hire somebody to support it than allow it to continue to take my attention away from what really matters to me, which is the big producer. Number 2 on the list is that most business owners don't know their KPIs and core metrics. KPIs are your key performance indicators, or you can refer to them as your core metrics. These are the numbers and values that will indicate how your company is doing. Some common KPIs are your cost to acquire a customer, your lifetime value of a customer, the average cost to provide your goods or services to that customer or to whoever you're providing goods and services to. Here's a good example. Restaurant owners, many of them don't know how much it actually costs to produce a plate of food. The food on the menu has a price, they know the sales price, they know what they want to yield on it, but so many of them don't know how much does that actual plate of food cost. And this typically is evident in smaller organizations or smaller restaurants because they're just like, all right, I pay for my rice, I pay for my meats, I pay for all these things, we cook it, etc. But they don't try to break down actually how much meat are they selling, what is the cost of that meat, What is the cost of the starches? What is the cost of the sides? What about the cost to prepare those foods? What are the cook's costs per an hour, per minute, per whatever it takes to make that particular dish? What about the service time? What about the cost of dishwashing and general upkeep? They really don't know how much goes into making a particular meal. And you have to know those things so that you know what is worth having on the menu and what needs to be removed, right? So you have to have a good sense of what your KPIs are and your core metrics are, because without that, you may be providing a product or service that is a loser in your company. And a lot of business owners, they just keep moving forward and think, hey, there's more revenue coming in, so I must be doing better. Meanwhile, they may have a huge money leak that is producing revenue for them, but it's actually a loser within their company. And because they don't know that, they eventually end up hurting themselves and not making as much money as they could have. And they could have been using the money that's coming into the company to build out on what is the top producer, rather than kind of spreading that money across the entire organization. Number 3 is that founders are starting businesses that are not solving anything or add zero to no value to people's lives. This is a tough one for most entrepreneurs to swallow. A lot of entrepreneurs start businesses or try to invent things that no one really cares about, or is just kind of like a vanity sort of product or service that isn't really worth anybody's money. We tend to dream up products or services that we personally would find interesting. However, those same products and services may be absolutely useless to the larger population. So we go out there with this enthusiasm saying that we solved our own problem, we solved our own thing, and it's really not an issue that exists in society for most people. These could be like things like clothing lines or fashion products, jewelry. These aren't things that people really need or really have to have in order to survive or exist or continue to prosper in life. And your personal taste may influence an entire company, and the end result is that your product or your taste doesn't resonate with the larger population, and then you have a loser on your hands. When you're starting a business, it's always best to think, is my product or service solving a larger problem? And if it's not solving a larger problem, is my product or service giving people a feeling of added value, a feeling that they're participating in something that enriches their soul or enriches their life or improves the quality of life in some way? A good example of that is Netflix. If you look at the history of Netflix, Netflix first started as a home video delivery service before it was a streaming service. So prior to being able to stream whatever you wanted, you had to go out, go to Blockbuster Videos, rent a video. You could have it for 3 days to a week, whatever the terms and conditions were, watch it, then have to pick up and go bring it back, etc. It was a little bit of a hassle. So Netflix took that away and said, hey, we'll send the videos directly to you, and guess what? You can keep it for as long as you want. We don't really care as long as you're paying your membership fee. So rather than penalizing you with bringing your videos in late and that sort of thing like Blockbuster used to do, they took away the pain point of having to go to the video store. They took away the pain point of having to pay penalties for being late. And they said, hey, just have the video at your leisure. It'll show up when it shows up. You watch it when you want to watch it, and life is good. And then it evolved into what it is today, where they said, hey, let's remove this mailing of CDs and DVDs. We're going to upload these videos directly on the platform, and you can watch them on demand. And that changed everything for them. So first they were solving this initial problem that people probably didn't even think they had, and offered up a convenience. And after they offered up that convenience, they started to amplify and improve their product and service, seeing exactly what would improve the experience of the user. So when you're going out there to start your business, think a little bit like Netflix. Don't make it so personal where it only appeals to you. Really try to understand what's going on out there, especially if you're going to create a company that's going to solve problems for other businesses. those are the best companies to create, in my opinion. The fourth reason is the ego. This reason breaks down into 3 parts. Our ego can foster the idea that as an owner, I am the king and must have my hands in everything. Many founders start alone without help, so in the early days, they do everything themselves. As the business grows and matures, you have to stop that and delegate. Along with this attitude to do everything, the next problem with the ego is that if you can't be honest with yourself and supplement for your weaknesses, an overinflated ego will prevent you from making the necessary changes that will improve your business. This includes knowing when it's time to fire yourself. The last piece about the ego that kills founders is the ego can be fragile and highly sensitive to rejection. In your entrepreneurial journey, more than 97% of your interactions to sell your product or service will result in rejections. Let's face it, rejection is a hard thing to swallow for almost everybody. But what you have to do is reverse your thinking and make it out to be where if 97% of your interactions are going to result in a rejection, set your mind that you need to have 100 interactions. And the closer you get to the 100, the closer and closer you are to securing your next customer or your next purchase, okay? If not, you're going to get defeated by the first 10 or 20 rejections that you get in a row. Sometimes your first interaction may produce a customer, and then the next 90 don't. And at that point, you'll think, oh, I just got lucky, what's wrong with my company, etc. You have to get used to the rejection. You have to factor that in. And again, if you know your KPIs and you know your core metrics, you'll be able to realize it takes X amount of interactions, X amount of sales calls, X amount of dollars spent to produce one customer. Once you know that and you're confident in that conversion, you could start to rationalize out that feeling of rejection. The fifth reason entrepreneurs fail, in my opinion, is failure to create reproducible processes early on in the company's life cycle. When doing these sort of videos, I like to give examples, real-world examples that people could relate to. In this example, I want to talk a little bit about McDonald's and why McDonald's is a great company. If you look at the history of McDonald's, it was a small, standalone, family-run business. And it improved for 2 reasons. One was controlling real estate and kind of shifting their business model a bit, but the other was being strategic about their systems. Look at the difference between going to a McDonald's and a local burger joint. The local burger joint takes an excessively long time to get your burger out. It may be a better burger, but it takes too long. The workflow is a little strange. The waiter may get your order wrong. The chef may prepare it inconsistently. What McDonald's did was really take a look at all of the systems and hyper-tune and focus those systems so that it didn't matter where they opened a new restaurant. It didn't matter the IQ of the workers. All that mattered was that every employee was trained to follow the system. And if you create a rock-solid system from the beginning, as you scale in size, as you open more offices, more locations, if all the systems are categorized, well-produced, easy to replicate, easy to train on, then you know, and you know what that system produces, then you know whoever is following that system is going to get it right. And if it starts to come out wrong, then you know it's not the system itself, because you've already tested and proven the system to be ideal and on nearly perfect. You know it's the employee. And that way, you have a few things that you can do. You could retrain the employee, you could kind of even reproduce your training material to fit the different types of employees that exist. Or if you realize that the employee just isn't following the system and it's a them problem, then you know that you need to change that part of the system. So tell me, do you agree or disagree with my top 5 reasons why entrepreneurs fail? Let me know right in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please like and share the video with anyone in your circle you feel could benefit from watching it. If you ever want to book a call with me for some guidance on how to navigate your business, feel free to book a call with me using my Calendly or Wizio link found in the description below this video. Until the next one, take care and thank you for joining me here on ENTP Life.